the Internal Affairs Minister?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm a member of the Internal Affairs Committee, and I wrote a letter protesting the previous process. And based on that letter, that's how the decision was reached to reschedule the confirmation. So
There's a whole lot of public backlash over that. Why did you do that?
but it will do what?
Why did you have to do another confirmation hearing after she appeared allegedly live on the oath?
Well, the Constitution gave us that right to hold confirmation hearing. There's nowhere that says you have to do only one time. And the fact that besides the credential issues, there were other issues that we had to address. And the decision, the plenary of the committee decided that we should redo it and then see if we can make the necessary correction and apology and then move on. So that was done and we decided.
Others say it wasn't done in the past. You all stopped the process of Wambudike. You all made sure Wambudike did not go through. You all made sure that Zolizo, the late, I believe, did not go through. You all made sure that Darlington Canley, on similar grounds for the airport during the WIA regime, did not go through. How come your first major test?
So I say to a lot of people that, a lot of my colleagues, sometimes we laugh about it, but it's a fact that in those days, there were not many, but there were oppositions in the Senate. I mean, and as opposition, I can say that to you. So, fortunately, today, it's as robust as it was.
So who are you? Even though you are,
I am in opposition, but I have one vote. That's the point.
No, but in this case, you voted in your favor.
In this case, I did a letter.
Why? Why?
And that was what I wanted. I wanted the clarification because when the first hearing took place, I wasn't in the country, so I wasn't. I didn't participate, even though I'm a member of the committee. So I wanted to get the necessary clarification, and I think the committee.
Did she come to you crawling, begging? Senat Snowe, I beg you, I will do something about this. And people in government calling, oh please, reconsider, do this and do that. You are a very influential member of the Senate, so these things happen.
No, when I know, I've known Fatima for many years. At least more than 20, 25 years I've known her. She's someone I'm very close to. But even though I'm close to her, I still felt that what she did was wrong. And it was even out of the country when I did the protest letter, urging the committee to reconduct the public hearing, correct the credential, and then where there were issues of misconduct we were able to achieve that. So for me, I achieved what I asked for. I couldn't go the extra mile and say, even though you're on the ground, you still come and step on, So the fact that I was the only senator who wrote an attention, I think for me, I achieved my goal. My goal was not to reject her. My goal was to make the necessary correction for the record.
Others could say it is because you have known her for so long, so you have a reconsideration.
And others will say, you know her this long, why are you protesting against her? Why are you not just letting it go?
No,
so
because no, sir, no. It is because you did not want her to be rejected on the first count.
She was going to be confirmed, trust me, she was going to be confirmed. Even though I wasn't there, I wasn't here in all the protests, she was definitely going to be confirmed. I mean,
so and then that's the issue in the public. What is really going on? Is it fear or what?
I don't know if it's fear, but I know one time my colleague said Amar Connor said something, and I don't necessarily take that line, but it makes a lot of sense that we either have people that are afraid, that either there's something hanging on the head, sanction, that man from the past administration, or be trying to gain favor with the administration, or establishment. There are people who have been able to recommend people in government. So in protecting the people, they have to protect, the interests of. So there's a lot of combination on the flow of the Senate.
Compromises.
So yeah, so and I'd say this, I admire the days of Yomi Kanga Lawrence, Darius DeLong, Prince Moe, Boy Charles. They were few, but they were strong on the floor. And well, opposition is relative.
Are you all spineless? The legislature was.
I said that a few months ago too, that I agree with Senator stand up. We need to do more, and I think that's why agents of the executive have feed us. On our constitutional duty, they go on social media, they sort of lie or statement. I was accused of trying to stipulate in our constitutional meeting, and admitted that they lie on me, and that they were instructed by the executive marshal, quote unquote, and we were going to make the correction. Until today, they haven't done anything publicly. So, a few days ago, I raised an issue, alleged that there was an issue at LBS, and in return, I was insulted by the Director General. He came on the floor today. So even today, we're able to amend our agenda. But normally AOB is the last item on the agenda. But today, because of the executive government as an opposition legislator, critical issue on even opposition, not just legislature, opposition. Once you raise an issue, in return, based on the merit, you are responded to by insults. And I think it's not good for our society, and it's something that if the Senate doesn't pay attention to it, it's going to come full cycle. Tomorrow, it might come to somebody else in the Senate, and then that time when we try to respond or to checkmate. There are a lot of trailers, and it's sad, but a lot of things being compromised. But on the overall of the Senate,
but there were similar situations. Administration. It said that the executive is not strangulating.
there was not much that, let me say, not go after at all, because Charles said it, the others I would say that, but where now there are people in the legislature today that worked in the previous government that may have some issues that you're afraid to talk, because when you talk, you're in trouble. The next day, maybe answer a call will come after you, or NCC will write you a letter, or somebody will say something. So there are different things in the next day. To be honest with you, it's frustrating. And it's not because you want to undermine the government, but in our quest to enhance the democratic credentials of our country. These are things we should do. Keep each other feet to the fire. We should raise the issue, we should flag the issues, and the issues should be discussed and then find a logical conclusion. But to the contrary, we don't do that much.
Regionally, before we go regionally, let's go to Bomi. Are you running in Bomi County 2029?
So the election will be October of 2029.
Yeah, but I have the opportunity of talking to
I'm responding, sir. It's in October 2029. This is November 2025. The commitment I have now is to deliver to the people I'm doing. So today, Bomi, I have the highest scholarship program in the country. My developmental agenda is unmatched, and without any doubt, I can say that to you. We were able to give 375 students a stipend to return to school. So our program in the county is very huge. We're still doing a lot in the county, and at the appropriate time, will determine if we want to recontest.
It seems like there are a whole lot of forces are converging on that county. I've seen
the more the merrier.
The MP was always visiting that as
well. She has ties with the Western region.
So one could now infer that you had to stand up for your Bomi sister.
No, not at all. The matter of fact, it was not even taken into consideration. What was taken into consideration? I'm a person that, look, I've had many new leases in life. I've made mistakes. I've been forgiven. I've earned. So for me, the fact that I presented her credential and she spoke in a condescending manner to me an opposition leader, get the benefit of the doubt, or to apologize where she erred. You have done nothing. Don't forget, the Senate is not just referred to as the Liberian Senate, it's referred to as the House of Elders. So it's our prerogative in the discharge of our constitutional prerogative. It's one chance to forgive people.
It is also
don't forget it's not the first time. Don't forget it's not the first time. You remember even when the beginning of the administration, when there was an issue with the public works and the Senate Committee on Public Works, where our chair Protein came and say, forgive. So that's something within the Senate.
Yeah, but you're also required to set standards for the future, so that people cannot willfully lie on the oath and say, okay, they will forgive me.
So Julius, you present the news, you come and deliver your news, and then there's something wrong with the news, and you come in next day and say there's a retraction, or we're taking back, we made an error. Shouldn't the listener say, no, we agree? The first mistake you made, let's keep it. So that's a room for it. There are options, Julius. There are options. So one of the many options is to either recall the confirmation, deny the person, accept the person, and I think the fact that the Committee on Internal Affairs, led by Senator Johnny Quay, to have accepted my letter as a member of the committee and a regular member of the Senate, to have accepted that letter, and it was deliberated, and the hearing was rescheduled, and it took place yesterday. For me, it's achievement, and I think it's in the right direction.
Okay.
Front of any influence.
Look, now, the main issue I call you here for, before we go there, let's go international. What have you been up to? You are always, I was surprised that you've been in Liberia for like 5-7 days now. You are always somewhere.
Yeah.
ECOWAS always sending you somewhere.
Yeah, it's been
are you the utility man of the ECOWAS Parliament?
So the way the ECOWAS Parliament functions, which I show you, I've seen a lot of reports from you on ECOWAS. The way the Parliament functions, there are committees, standing committees, and I chair the first amongst equals in the ranking of committees. But my committee has multiple responsibility. So, like if you were relating to the Liberian Senate, for example, I'm the chairman on Forest and Security. Then internal affairs, which to include peace and reconciliation. So all of those responsibilities in the ECOWAS Parliament is under my committee. So I do parliamentary diplomacy, I do election observation, I do fact-finding mission, I do oversight, So there's a lot of responsibility that committee has. But my first obligation, of course, is to my national parliament, to the Liberian Senate. So yes, I was in Cote d'Ivoire for the election. Then I had to run to Abuja to meet with the EU delegation. I was scheduled to go to Pakistan, but then I had pressing engagement. I had to cancel that. I was scheduled to leave the country tomorrow for Guinea-Bissau to observe the election, which should be on Sunday in Guinea-Bissau. I had to put my flight up for Friday because on Thursday, as chair of the Hydrocarbon Committee, I will be doing public hearing on the Oranto and Total or the PSC production sharing contract. So we'll be doing a public hearing on this. So I had to put my trade so tomorrow. I'll be going over. So again, it was I signed up. So when you sign up for things, you have to make yourself available. Not necessarily the president, but I'm a ranking member of the parliament, come with a lot of experience, and my committee responsibility is immense. So I take my job seriously, both at the Liberian Senate and of course at the regional parliament.
Okay. Now, uh, civil servants. This, what did you really say? Was it only about civil servants when you spoke quite strongly about the budget going to the draft budget going to 1.2 billion, and there doesn't seem to be movement in terms of implementing pay of people working in government.
So let me start by thanking the executive branch, the Ministry of Finance, the Liberal Revenue Authority, um, for landmark draft budget. For the first time in our history, our budget has hit the 1 billion mark. Um, it's laudable. It's something we must commend the Ministry of Finance and the LRA. I think it's a milestone. But we cannot boast of hitting 1 million mark when we cannot address the bread and butter issue. So for me, in a developing country like this, where there are still people in this country that go to bed hungry. There are still people that cannot afford to send their children to school. So when the president of Liberia addressed the nation during the July 26th celebration and admitted that there were hardships in the country, when he admitted that prices of basic commodities are escalating or on the high side, and he constituted a committee. In his words, he's appointing a successful business person, and he gave all of the adjectives and everything before finally announcing his vice president to chair that committee. The committee is to report to the president, so I won't speak if they have made a report or not, because it was a presidential committee to report to the president. Maybe they have done, the president and made that public. But when the president comes out and say there's hardship in the country, prices are going up, and then a few months later, you send us a draft budget of $1.2 billion. And as you recall, a few years ago, during the Weah administration, salaries were harmonized. So people's salaries were cut.
And it was a major campaign issue.
A major campaign issue. I still remember watching videos where civil servants paraded with pride, all being afraid of the person, and said, "You cut my pay, I will cut your vote." You know? And my question is not necessarily for campaign, but my question is that the budget is here. Yes, it's a draft budget. Yes, some of the amounts of the 1.2 billion are still in contingency. It's contingent on some action. Let's talk about more. If these instruments, for example, are not ratified by the legislature, it cuts into the budget. If Aslam Mitar does not sign the new agreement, the budget is reduced by $200 million. You know, so there are other factors where if
you were presented with a legislative coercion tool and now a 1.2 billion draft budget, because tying all these concession agreements, the rental deals and whatsoever, what they should bring in, it is almost like
coercion should be the word. No, I don't think so.
Making you to want to sign those things.
No, I disagree. That's why I just said to you, as I was speaking, I said to you, it's predicated on our action. So if we have the hearing tomorrow and we agree that, okay, look, Total Energy and Oranto don't warrant having a block in our basin, and we cannot rectify it, then the budget is reduced by those amounts that are included in the budget. If we say Arsenal Mitar has not lived up to expectation to give them another 25 years concession, the renewal for concession, then the budget is already less by 200 million. And there are issues. Don't take it for granted. There are issues being raised in the legislature. I mean, you know the story with Antoine, who have been speaking, off the top for his people. So there are issues. Now, take all things constant. Say I'm a budget expert. I'm not going to go into the dotting the I's and crossing the T's and all of those kind of things. But I'm looking at it now as a face value. So yes, there are contingent amount in the budget being placed there, but there are also some facts in the budget. For example, if you look at the budget, there's a line called now government expenditure. It's new, introduced for the first time. It's over 200 million. All right. So if you just look at that line, for example, that is new and the budget has survived over the years with all that new line being placed in the budget, that money is already enough to address the issue of pre-harmonization. Now, someone said to me, which I saw from funny, and said, why do we address pre-harmonization now if we still have 2027, 2028, 2029 to go back to that? We can fight and reverse it in 2028, which will help us to get re-elected in 2029. So if we are waiting to only restore civil servants' salary for harmonization, to say let's wait for a year before the election because it will help us to get vote, they will not be fair to the civil servants. So what I'm saying, there is no time better than now with 1.2 billion projected budget, draft budget before us to address the issue because they are fasting budget. I mean, things have increased. The budget lines of ministries, of agencies, of the legislature, other areas have increased. So, but you know, the trust in it, which I know will be one question. Normally, when the Liberian people take the budget, even if we had $10 billion budget, if the legislature had $10 billion there, the focus will go on that one. So the budget has always been about